There are three questions that have plagued mankind since the beginning of time. Is there a God? What is the meaning of life? And, darn it, do audiobooks count as reading? There are arguments and rebuttals on both sides, but I thought I would give my 2 cents. The Welsh take, if you deem it as such. Allow me to preface two things. I'm not going to be talking about studies or scientific research because I don't particularly care. Additionally, I know a lot of this conversation revolves around accessibility and inclusivity. Again, that's not something I'm going to talk about here because I don't particularly care. One of the main arguments is that reading means something very precise. So an audiobook doesn't count. And if you look at the Oxford English Dictionary for reading, you will see that it is a sharp sauce flavoured with spices and herbs. Okay, that doesn't help us. Let's just Google reading. So the first definition that crops up on Google is the action or skill of reading. Oh no, it's the right wing's favourite shape, the circular definition. Okay, let's use the second one that crops up. An occasion at which pieces of literature are read to an audience, such as a poetry reading. So if I'm in the audience, I'm listening to the words that were written down in front of the author. As you can tell, definitions get tricky quite quickly. However, in a lot of conversations, people aren't quoting definitions to each other. They're using this thing called common sense, something you might not find on TikTok. Thus, allow me to parlay this conversation with absolute ease. If you have a conversation with someone about, let's grab a book. Within this completely fake and imaginary conversation, you and another person are talking about the characters, the themes, the plot of Iris Murdoch's The Bell, what you like and what you don't like. Shockingly, at the end of a very fruitful conversation, you learn that the other person actually just listened to the audio book. Does that negate that they've understood it? No, of course not, because no one particularly cares. To give a different example, I reviewed Sarah Kane's plays, and in fact, I've only seen one of Sarah Kane's plays on stage. The others, I don't think are going to happen anytime soon, or in my small Welsh village, I'm not going to be able to go and ever see these plays. Does this mean, even though I've read the plays, that I've not been able to experience the plays? Personally, I feel plays are the best medium to discuss this, because a lot of people have read plays, but they've not gone to seen the exact play that they've read. Have you experienced it? Have you witnessed the play? It's the same content, but in a different medium. For me, the crux of all of this lies in content engagement. And I am more than happy to agree that a different content, a different medium, ultimately shapes the experience different. It is true that no one reads the exact same book. So when it comes to reading a book or listening to a book, ultimately it's the same content, just a different context. Personally, I don't particularly care about the context, the medium, or your understanding of a text. You have legitimacy to say that you've read it because you've engaged in it. That being said, saying that ebooks don't count as reading does not fail to give me endless joy in seeing people on the internet getting really riled up about it, even though I don't prescribe to that. But I tell you now, it's so easy to rile people up by saying ebooks don't count as reading, because they're never expecting it. They're never expecting the Kindle slander. Remember, the only game you need to play is 4D chess. Read what you want and how you want. I don't particularly care, and no one ever really actually cares. We're all going to die one day, aren't we?